Hi, my name is Joey Walker. I'm the CEO of Leading Edge Threat Mitigation. From the perspective of the person who's out there shopping, unfortunately, they are the intended victims. Those individuals, basically, they're looking at it's a holiday season. They're going to be relaxed. They're going to be thinking about the presents they're going to be getting their loved ones, their friends. So they're out looking and their guard may be significantly down. They're considering what's the best thing to do, and they're actually getting with the holiday spirit. On the other hand, we've got individuals who want to prey upon those individuals, who want to target them and use everything they possibly can at their own risk to take those items from the individuals, whether it's by force or whether they want to actually wait until the person's placed those items inside their vehicles and burglarize their vehicles. When they're using it by force, or when they're taking it by force, I should say, they will possibly rob at gunpoint or knife point, or by the threat of using those types of weapons, or grab purses, grab property, take off running, jump into a vehicle, take off running. We've seen that with shoplifting going on throughout the United States. So they may use those specific avenues to perpetrate the crimes. And unfortunately, the people who are out Christmas shopping, holiday shopping, looking at things that they want to do and great things for their friends and family, unfortunately, they're the victims because they're not thinking about what's the best way to protect themselves, walking through a parking lot or leaving a store or even approaching a store. The best way to look at protecting yourself in a parking lot or a parking garage is to not go by yourself when you're shopping. Whether you're walking to or from the car, go with groups of people. Criminals typically don't like groups of people. They prefer one or two people by themselves. That way, there's less people to be able to contend with, to be able to witness the crime, or maybe even to fight back. So I would suggest strongly going out with a group of people, 3 to 4 people at least, going on Christmas shopping. If you're parking in a parking lot, you might be lucky enough to get the first parking spot available, but you also may end up parking further away from the mall front door. So in that case, try to park in well-lighted areas that you can actually see. Park where you can actually walk around your vehicles to make sure that you're walking in a place where people aren't going to be able to jump out and surprise you and do a blitz attack on you. If you're walking through the parking lot, between the aisles, don't walk between vehicles, but take the center of the aisle unless you need to move away because a vehicle is coming down or coming up that specific aisle. And then go ahead and regain that center of that aisle again. That way you'll have equal distance between vehicles on your left or vehicles on your right as you're walking down the center path of that aisle. If you're parking in a parking garage, the same things apply. I would go with several people rather than just one. If you really feel the need to, especially at nighttime, it's okay to take a flashlight. I would strongly encourage to use an LED type flashlight, not the light on your phone, an LED flashlight that's really bright. That way, if anything happens, someone surprises you, you can always turn that flashlight on, shine it in their eyes initially to make maybe the person even kind of shy away from you, turn their head. Gives you the opportunity to analyze the threat, to see what you need to do, whether you need to escape from the area or you need to just give up the property. And lastly, if any person ever wants to accost you and take your personal property, especially if they're armed, it is best to give them the property. You can always obtain more property. You can never obtain another life. Give them the property, let them go, and let them do what they're going to do away from you, but not to harm you. You want them leaving you alone. Law enforcement typically has been involved in these types of issues with crime prevention and officer safety from the start of their police academy throughout their entire career. So they're pretty well schooled up and know what to do. It's the civilian population that unfortunately sometimes we have to educate and go, hey, you know what, guys and gals, you may have had a great life where you lived, but criminals travel. It's not, for example, where I live in Reno, Nevada, it's a 4-hour drive from a major metropolitan city and a 2-hour drive from Sacramento to Reno. So criminals can get in the car and be here within a 2-hour, 4-hour time span. So if we look at the fact that people can travel to those locations, the best thing we can have working for us is our own awareness of a situation, what we call situational awareness or context clues, picking up on what's in our environment that may look as a threat to another individual. I tell people to concentrate and specifically evaluate people in one of 3 threat categories. Either the person's a threat, they're not a threat, or they're not sure if the person's a threat. And those can be based upon how the person looks, their behavior, definitely. Sometimes clothing and context clues give us away. If I saw 5 guys walking around in Boy Scout attire versus 5 guys wearing outlaw biker groups, which one am I going to be more concerned with? Obviously, the outlaw biker groups. But looking at those context clues and deciding when we see them to take immediate action as opposed to dismissing it and not wanting to make someone else feel uncomfortable because we're looking at a situation and decide we don't want to be here anymore. You don't owe anyone an explanation in order to leave an area. You can just see something that looks dangerous or just doesn't look right, as cops call it, JDLR. And when you see that, you decide to go the 180 degrees the opposite direction, whether you're walking, running, whether you can get to your car, whether you got to just run across the street, however it works out best for you to keep your own survival tactics intact.